Are y'all ready to see the harsh reality of what the future of humanity will be in 2030? As I sit here and take in all of the news from every direction, all I see is deceivers, liars, corporate media, cover-ups, agenda, all pushing the same propaganda. It's time for a game changer, a visionary, an innovative person who changes the way that people think of the situations. It's time for Game Changer TV, telling it like it is. Get in the game. Thank you for tuning into Game Changer TV. I'm your host, Terri Lynn, and this is the channel where every day we're telling it like it is. Today is the early morning of June 15th, 2025, and let's get into this eye-opening, sobering reality of what awaits humanity in 2030. That's just 4.5 years away. From June 30th, that would be 1,643 days. By 2030, the world will likely be characterized by significant technological advancements, demographic shifts, and ongoing challenges related to sustainability and climate change. These changes will impact various aspects of life, including the economy, society, and the environment. That's where I got this from. The world in 2030. Now, we all know about the UN Sustainability Goals and their Agenda 2030. The UN's 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted in 2015, is a global plan outlining 17 sustainable development goals to address challenges like poverty, inequality, and climate change by 2030. These goals aim to create a more sustainable and just world by integrating economic, social, environmental dimensions. Well, let's look at some of the things that are planned for 2030. We're going to go into some crazy rabbit holes, and then that's all going to come together. Your mind is going to be just blown. So please go ahead and get your notebook and let's write down the questions and the answers. 2030. What is humanity going to be like in the future at 2030? 4.5 years from now, 1,600 days. The phrase 2030 zombies likely refers to the book series 2030, The Zombie Apocalypse. It is a fictional series about a zombie outbreak during the year 2030. The Zombie Apocalypse 2030. And y'all remember when the CDC made reference to the zombies in their preparedness documents? The CDC launched a Preparedness 101 Zombie Apocalypse campaign in 2011 to raise awareness about disaster preparedness in an engaging way. And it talked about the rise of the zombies. I typed in, can cyborgs be zombies? In fiction, yes, cyborgs could potentially be zombies. The concept of cyborgs implies a fusion of organic and mechanical parts. The concept, cyborgs is not going to be a concept. Wait till we get into this. The concept of cyborgs implies a fusion of organic and mechanical parts, while a zombie is typically depicted as a reanimated corpse, often lacking a rational mind. Does the U.S. military have a zombie plan? Yes, the U.S. military does have a contingency plan for zombie apocalypse called Plan 8888. This plan, developed through training exercises, focuses on identifying the threat, designating vital infrastructure, and coordinating military forces to respond to a zombie outbreak. It explores how the military would respond to a zombie apocalypse, including preparing for a widespread threat, coordinating with other agencies, and restoring civilian life. Threat assessment. The plan categorizes zombies based on origin, a virus, radiation, magic, etc., and potential behaviors. Infrastructure focus, it prioritizes protecting critical infrastructure like food, power, and medical services. It's all for entertainment purposes only, just like the CDC's. Conplan 8888, also known as Counter Zombie Dominance, is a fictional U.S. Department of Defense contingency plan developed to train military personnel in strategic planning and crisis management using a zombie apocalypse as the scenario. It outlines how the United States military would respond to a hypothetical zombie outbreak, focusing on identifying threats, designating vital resources, and coordinating forces. This plan is not a serious prediction of a zombie apocalypse, but rather a tool for practicing military planning in response to unexpected events. Y'all know they've been talking about removing the God gene and being able to turn off cells and program people and take away their convictions. How are zombies created? In Haitian voodoo folklore, zombies are created through a process involving magic, typically by a sorcerer called a boker, who removes part of a person's soul and uses it to reanimate the corpse. In pop culture, zombies are often depicted as being created by a virus or an infection, often spreading through bites or other forms of contact. So why would the military use this as a scenario? Now, remember, can cyborgs be zombies? This is from the Kirksville Library. We are becoming cyborgs. The most important application of circa 2030 nanobots will be to literally expand our minds. By 2030, electronics will utilize molecule-sized circuits, the reverse engineering of the human brain, and will have completed. Biomems will have evolved into bionems, biological electromechanical systems. It will be routine to have billions of nanobots carousing through our capillaries of our brains and communicating with each other over a wireless local area network, as well with our biological neurons and with the internet. One application will be to provide full immersion virtual reality that encompasses all of our senses. When we want to enter a virtual reality environment, the nanobots replace the signals from our real senses with the signals that our brain would receive if we were actually in a virtual environment. Cyborgs will not need to leave the house. The idea that cyborgs may not need to leave their houses is based on the potential for advanced technological integration. If cyborgs possesses highly advanced cybernetic enhancements, they might be able to interact with the world and fulfill their needs without physically leaving their homes.
It's part of the human condition to imagine what the future might look like. Years ago, science fiction writers like Arthur C. Clarke dreamed and future-gazed, mapping out exactly what 2020 might be like.
The big difference when he grows up, in fact, if we wanted to wait for the year 2001, is that he will have in his own house, not a computer as big as this, but at least a console through which you can talk to his friendly local computer and get all the information you need in the course of living in a complex modern society. This will be in a compact form in his own house.
Our lives have changed so dramatically in the first 20 years of this millennium. But what will our domestic life in 2030 look like?
And that's what this video is going to be about. what our future as human beings is going to look like by 2030, just 4.5 years away. Now remember, Amazon wrote a zombie apocalypse clause into their terms of service. This is from Zombie Research Society. Scientists discover undead genes. Scientists have recently discovered that hundreds of genes used in the growth and development of life begin functioning after death. The discovery and subsequent papers published on the subject where hundreds of genes continue to express themselves long after death. We've been hearing a lot about gene expression during the devil juice jabs.
This is so scary, guys. They're doing it, guys. They had to create the 5G towers. They had to create the 5G towers and the blue lights, which happened while you were home to save lives and take something. So they told the scientists that they needed to have the 5G towers with the blue lights and the you know what from 2020. I'm not going to say what, but Fauci recommended it a lot, Dr. Fauci. All those three things combined, once you took that, their DNA is altered. So when they release a signal of 18 gigahertz, jump from the quantum computers through the 5G towers, through the blue lights into possessing the bodies of those who took the you know what, turning them into complete zombies. They're going to search for death and not find it. When the time is right, they're going to release a signal of 18 gigahertz pulsating for 1 minute, 3 different times, cracking open the nanoparticle gels that holds a pathogen that deletes gene 1p36. That gene is responsible for critical thinking.
Particles, the hydrogel, there exist pathogens inside of the particles that have not yet opened. Those pathogens are chimeric. They include E. coli, Marburg, Ebola, Staphylococcus, and brewer's yeast, amongst others. We know that upon the broadcast from the 5G system that is now employed across the United States, or the world for that matter, when they broadcast an 18 gigahertz signal for 1 minute, 3 different times as a pulse, it will cause those lipid nanoparticles to swell and release these pathogenic contents, thereby causing a Marburg epidemic that they've already spent the money on. It's already done, right? The Marburg epidemic, for purposes of the law, has happened, and now we just need the actual disaster to happen. And there's actually worse parts to it than that, including the 1p36 gene deletion that effectively will turn those poor people into zombies. Odd as that sounds, our government's preparing for that.
Thank you.
So CDC talked about the zombies. Amazon had the zombie clause in their terms of service. That scientist just said that the military is training for the zombie apocalypse. And here's real military zombie apocalypse training. Let's see this clip.
We have your location confirmed to screen. 4, provide overwatch, time on target's notice to move.
How are things in the village? I think we can do, make sure you bring it up, and I are prepared to do that. We need water. Get inside the building. Covering.
Look seriously injured. Message back. 8 zombies. Very good. Mercy 1.
Grab the asset.
Retract broadcast.
Hydrogel, there exists pathogens inside of the particles that have not yet opened. Those pathogens are chimeric. They include E. coli, Marburg, Ebola, Staphylococcus, and brewer's yeast, amongst others. We know that upon the broadcast from the 5G system that is now employed across the United States, and the world for that matter, when they broadcast an 18 gigahertz signal for 1 minute, 3 different times as a pulse, it will cause those lipid nanoparticles to swell and release these pathogenic contents, thereby causing a Marburg epidemic that they've already spent the money on. It's already done, right? The Marburg epidemic, for purposes of the law, has happened, and now we just need the actual disaster to happen. And there's actually worse parts to it than that, including the 1p36 gene deletion that effectively will turn those poor people into zombies.
Yeah.
Odd as that sounds, our government's preparing for that.
Thank you.
Cybernetic zombies. A cybernetic zombie is a zombie brought back to life by cybernetic means. This would include galvanization, nanorobots, or robot articulation grafted into a corpse. This type of semi-mechanical zombie from a cyborg. I just typed in here, Starlink's satellite network can facilitate transmission of data from cyborgs, including vital signs, sensor readings, or control commands to a central system. With consistent connectivity, doctors or specialists can monitor for health and performance of cyborgs remotely. So I typed straight out, will cyborgs be able to be remote controlled? Based on current research, it is possible to create cyborgs that can be remotely controlled. And y'all remember when Davos said that human beings are going to become cyborgs. I'm not, and you're not, in Jesus' name. But the unsaved people are looking forward to it.
We're going to start the When Humans Become Cyborg session.
So they're planning it.
We're going to start the When Humans Become Cyborg session. I always want to be a cyborg. I'm waiting for the day to become one, but
I typed in as an RFID chip implant a cyborg. Yes, some people consider RFID implants to be a form of cyborganization, though it's a relatively early stage compared to more extensive augmentations. A cyborg connected to the IoT, the Internet of Things, refers to a human being with implanted or wearable technology that is directly linked to the Internet of Things, allowing them to interact with and receive data from various connected devices, essentially enhancing their abilities and providing real-time information through a seamless human-machine interface. We're looking at what humanity is going to look like in 4.5 years. Less than 1,600 days. Feasibility of miniature nuclear reactors for humanoid cyborgs. The idea is to build a cybernetic body. Y'all remember cybernetic zombies? The idea is to build a cybernetic body for a human. Only the brain and a few glands related to emotions, like adrenal glands, will be kept. The brain and the glands will be a closed plug-and-play container that can be connected to compatible bodies to turn humans into cybernetic space elves capable of living long enough to cross the void between the stars without relying on relativistic ships. Are y'all hearing this? The feasibility of small or miniature nuclear reactors for humanoid cyborgs. Oh, thank God Trump's not involved in this. May 28th, 2025. Trump nuclear power orders could open small reactors, miniature reactors in the United States by 2030. President Trump's orders could help launch small modular reactors in the United States by late 2030. The feasibility of miniature nuclear reactors for humanoid cyborgs, and Trump is ordering the creation of small reactors. Will AI need reactors? Yes, it is likely that AI, particularly the energy intensive artificial intelligence data centers, will drive a need for more nuclear reactors. Will AI work with implantable cell phones? Yes, AI is expected to play a significant role in the development and functionality of implantable cell phones.
I'm studying abroad from.
It will, first of all, it will definitely happen. I was talking about 6G earlier, which is around 2030. I would say that by then, definitely the smartphone as we know it today will not anymore be the usual, kind of the most common interface.
Wow.
Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies.
And one.
So that was another day of Davos meeting, them telling us. Nikola CEO says 6G will be here by 2030, but you might not access it via your smartphone. By then, definitely the smartphone as we know it today will not anymore be the most common interface, he said. Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies. 6G smartphones will be embedded in the human body by 2030. Are y'all writing down some of the things that are just 4.5 years away? Maybe sooner, because a lot of these articles are saying by 2030. By 2030, technology embedded in the human brain. The creation of zombies. The future of 6G wireless technology could use humans as a power source. Move over the matrix, human energy to be harvested for smart devices of the future. With the number of Internet of Things devices interlinked worldwide forecast to reach 100 billion by 2030, there is a clear need for new sustainable energy sources and technologies that can meet the power demand for our reliance on technology for work, life, and play. In comes human energy. A potential breakthrough has been achieved by scientists in the realm of harnessing electrical energy from human activity. The energy world is set to change significantly by 2030, and the future of 6G wireless technology could use humans as the power source. You know, the cell phone that will be in your body will be powered by your human energy.
The 6G will liberate human potential. It will transform the way we live, the way we work, connecting human worlds, physical worlds with digital worlds. And that will unleash new human possibilities. We are proud to say that Bell Labs has actually done many pioneering innovations in the field of communications. The laser was invented here, the cellular network, the transistor, actually the basis of AI was laid here. And this proud history that has led to also Nobel Prizes and Turing Awards. And so we are already preparing for the 6G era. We actually already started with the research on 6G 2 years ago. You want to be 10 years ahead of the game before the commercial deployment. You cannot do this alone. You need the partners. We are now leading the very first flagship project for 6G, HexaX. What will 6G unleash? It will enable perfect knowledge of human worlds, connecting us with the digital worlds. 6G will enable holographic communication. It will be as if I'm teleported to your environment, like working on the same design, the same object, as if we are in the same room. 6G will enable us to offload mundane tasks from humans, things that machines do better, mental tasks, quality checks, to really unleash things that humans are best at, solving creative problems, strategic thinking. If you think of the billions of devices that are going to be connected, the 6G network needs to bring reliable services, high performance, do it in a sustainable way, and then also in a secure way. We always like to anticipate future human needs, understand the real hard problems and solving them in creative and disruptive ways. Our ambitions come with real game-changing innovations that define the future of communications.
Can 6G support cyborgs? 6G technology, currently under research and development, holds significant potential to support advancements in human-machine interaction, potentially enabling the development of cyborg-like interfaces. Will 6G be used to connect humans to the blockchain? While 6G networks are expected to incorporate blockchain technology to enhance security and efficiency in various applications, it's not anticipated that 6G will directly connect humans to the blockchain in the sense of directly linking individuals' physical bodies or consciousness to it. Instead, the integration of 6G and blockchain focuses on leveraging blockchain's features to improve the functionality and security of the network itself and services it supports. Could 6G be used to create a new AI religion? Yes, it is possible that 6G technology could contribute to the creation of a new AI religion or alter existing religious practices. Could a new religion develop around AI? Theologians and social commentators worry that a new religion could develop around an extreme reverence for AI. 6G is not just a technology upgrade, it's a preview of the global system described in prophecy. I don't know how many people remember Operation Mockingbird. That was a covert CIA program launched in the 1950s to manipulate mainstream media. Journalists on the CIA payroll were given talking points to push specific narratives, influencing what Americans saw and believed. This was exposed in 1976 by the Church Committee hearings, which the Senate Intelligence Committee conducted. These hearings revealed that terms like fake news was a term created by the CIA for the JFK assassination. In 1977, Rolling Stones magazine, Carl Bernstein confirmed that major media outlets, including CBS, NBC, ABC, New York Times, the AP, UPI, Reuters, Saturday Evening Post, Newsweek, and Time, had news reporters and journalists on the CIA payroll. George H.W. Bush, the CIA director at the time, said the CIA will no longer pay journalists to write stories. It will now be voluntary. 6G and AI integration. I remind you of this because there was a time when the elite wanted to keep what they were doing under wraps. That has changed. These elites are now so confident that nothing can be done to stop their plans that they are now publicly releasing what they plan to do next. Even with their plans being put out for all to see, they seem confident that most of the general public still has no understanding of what is being planned. 6G and AI integration, which is being promoted as a breakthrough for sustainability, efficiency, and convenience. But the reality is far deeper. This has been a slow, deliberate march towards total surveillance, control, and the erosion of individual autonomy. Let's understand this has been 40 years in the making. 6G is not just for faster internet, it's about complete integration with AI, automation, and global connectivity. It's going to be used in immersive extended reality, digital twins, global smart networks, fixed wireless access, AI-based energy saving management, AI-controlled traffic loads, automated 6G networks. 6G will mean the total automation of society, every action, conversation, and movement tracked, monitored, and potentially controlled. 6G and biblical prophecy. Why does this matter? Because Bible prophecy tells us that a global system of control will rise before Christ returns. Scripture speaks of a time when a one-world government, economy, and religion demand allegiance to the Antichrist rule. Technology like 6G sets the stage for this reality. What we are seeing now must be set into place and available then. Total surveillance. No one will be off the grid. AI-driven monitoring will track every individual's movements, purchases, and communications. Digital identification and cashless society. 6G will facilitate the infrastructure for a global digital ID system, controlling who can buy or sell. AI decision making. With 6G, AI, not humans, will control systems that dictate access to essential services. Will 6G work with the RFID chip implants? Yes, 6G technology is expected to work with RFID implants, and in fact, it has the potential to significantly enhance their capabilities and integration. Superhuman. Transhumanism and the future of humanity. 7 ways the world will change by 2030. The EU wants all citizens, how many? All citizens to have a digital ID by 2030. The digital ID rollout is accelerating with little attention and not enough pushback. Babies will be digitally ID'd starting in 2020 or by 2030. By 2030, the United Nations aims to provide legal identity for all, including newborns, through initiatives like birth registration, often involving digital ID systems. This aligns with the Sustainable Development Goals. This was the previous Pope, but Pope says 2030 worldwide mandatory digital ID to participate in society.
There are now proposals on the table proposing by the year 2030 that all newborns be implanted with a computer chip in the brain. They say to give them the edge in business and to be able to compete successfully in life. We're at this pivotal point where we now have the ability to make decisions that will not change so much the world around us, but the world within us forever in ways that can never be reversed. We don't even know what it means to be human. We're about to give our humanness away to the technology before we even know what it means to be fully human. We owe it to ourselves as a species to find out who we are before we give it away forever. Here's the beauty. When we discover the deep truth of what it means to be human, we will feel less need to bring that external technology into our bodies because we are the technology, literally.
The World Bank is working on the 2030 agenda. The World Bank Group can help catalyze the Sustainable Development Goals and the rest of the 2030 agenda through thought, leadership, global convening, country level uptake. The World Bank can help implement the Sustainable Development Goals. That means economies are going to have to collapse within the next 4.5 years to bring in their technology and their one world government. The global financial and monetary system in 2030. This is a PDF from the World Economic Forum. Y'all can tell I'm tired. Let's look at this. By 2030, the financial services will be completely transformed, requiring substantial steps to be taken today by the industry new entrants and regulators to ensure positive outcome of the transformation. We're looking at what life is going to be like in 4.5 years. 2030, an introduction to the future of home plus living. By 2030, most people probably will not have a full-time job. That means a universal basic income will be here within 4.5 years.
With the way the nature of work is changing, along with increasing inequality, our current social safety net is outdated. That's why we need a universal basic income.
We should explore ideas like universal basic income to make sure that everyone has a cushion to try new ideas.
The idea of a universal basic income, or UBI, has been floated and discussed by politicians and economists for decades. In recent years, however, it's been building momentum, with the concept trialled to varying degrees in Finland, Kenya, Canada, and elsewhere. But what is it, and how does it actually work? The UBI is sold as a new approach to welfare, where every citizen of a country is given enough money to live, making work in essence optional. It's like any other form of social safety net, but the thing that makes a UBI unique is it doesn't distinguish between people at all. In principle, if a basic income of $15,000 a year was implemented in Australia, that exact amount would go to the unemployed and homeless, as well as multimillionaires. A UBI doesn't discriminate against people, but it also doesn't discriminate for people.
It's completely unconditional. So no one's going to tell you what you have to do for it, and no one's going to tell you what you have to do with it. The basic income is not a favor, but a right.
For its advocates, a basic income is about financial and psychological freedom. It's not a path to fully solving inequality, but a way of giving people financial security so they are free to live the lives they want, rather than the lives they need to live for them to survive.
So that's how they're selling it. They're telling you you'll be free to do whatever you want to do with it. Wait till you see the lie. There's no free cheese in a trap.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better. Okay. What to do about mass unemployment? This is going to be a massive social challenge. And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Universal basic income.
Universal basic income. I think it's going to be necessary.
So it means that unemployed people will be paid across the globe.
Yeah.
Because there is no job, machine, robot is taking over.
That's simply and I want to be clear that these are not things that I wish would happen. These are simply things that I think probably will happen. And if my assessment is correct and they probably will happen, then we need to say, what are we going to do about it? And I think some kind of a universal basic income is going to be necessary.
AI is being pushed for a very specific reason that nobody's talking about. And that reason is to make the actual middle-class worker obsolete and remove them from the workforce to create a dependent class so that they can introduce a universal basic income where people accept a certain amount of money a month to sit around and do nothing, contribute nothing, build nothing. And that sounds like utopia to a lot of people, because a lot of people say, well, man, I'd love to not work. I'd love to not have a job. Would you love to be as dirt poor where you're standing in a bread line and you can only get government approved food? Basically, you have no options in your life and you have no freedom in your life and you have to take what you can get. Does that sound appealing to you? Because the picture they paint is far different from reality. AI.
Google futurist and director of engineering, basic income will spread worldwide by the 2030s. Basic income will be widespread by the 2030s, according to Google futurist and director of engineering Ray Kurzweil. Kurzweil is known for making seemingly wild predictions. In 2016, he predicted that by 2029, medical technology will add an extra year to human life. Who knows? But basic income experiments in which people are given a regular salary just to live with no strings attached are popping up all over Europe, Africa, and North America. Now, this is where the trap is going to come in. It's going to be digital, that can be programmed, programmable, restricted. Could cryptocurrencies be harnessed to provide universal basic income? Could universal basic income have restrictions? Yes, universal basic incomes could theoretically have restrictions. Could universal basic income be cut off? Yes, universal basic income programs could potentially be cut off. Could universal basic income be frozen? Yes, in theory, a universal basic income could be frozen. That this would likely be done as a measure to control inflation. Could cryptocurrencies be harnessed to provide universal basic income? Could UBI, universal basic income, be in crypto? Yes, universal basic income could potentially be implemented or enhanced through cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. 5 reasons why crypto is perfect for universal basic income. AI supports the case to introduce universal basic income. John Keynes, one of the great historical figures in economics, predicted that by 2030, people would work for only 15 hours a week. This sort of vision of a human-centric utopia, if the devil's telling you it's a utopia, you know it's going to be hell, begins to point to the need for a systematic way to ensure everyone is provided for fairly. Y'all remember this? A Google futurist said that universal basic income will be worldwide by the 2030s. Will the United States, UK, China, or any of the countries in the EU enact a universal basic income before the next 4.5 years, before 2030? And if so, would you be willing to take it? Everything monitored.
Implanted into your hand, if it gave, would you be willing to have a microchip implanted into your hand if it gave you $2,000 every single month? Now, I know some people might be thinking, no, I would not have anything injected into my body. However, you might be surprised at how many people are saying they're on board. In 2021, a survey was conducted of 4,000 people in the European Union, and over half said they would be on board. And this almost echoes exactly what I shared with you going on last week as we saw the release of WorldCoin, which combines AI, artificial intelligence, UBI, monthly payments that go out to individuals, and also biometric data scanning as people, literally millions, upon this release, went to go have their eyeballs scanned, their biometric data stored so that way they could receive these payments in the form of digital currency. And they're saying we could do this, or we could also have chips implanted into the hand. And as I mentioned, you might be surprised to see how many people might line up to get this, to get free money to have a chip implanted into their hand. Now, at this present time, we do not have a CBDC. FedNow just rolled out last month, and they're saying that this is going to be instant payments from bank to bank, kind of like a wire. However, this is not CBDC. However, the Fed is saying that a CBDC, they are working on one, studying it as we speak, and they're expecting to have something ready by the year 2030. And we're hearing that when this rolls out, we will have a centralized banking digital currency controlled by the federal government, and cash will go the way of the dodo. We'll no longer need paper money as everything will be digital. And right now, the talk of a CBDC likely rolling out would be in the form of an app on the iPhone. However, there's some that are saying that this is the introduction of the CBDC, but the next steps and the way they'd like to go would be to have a chip implant or biometric data to scan it, and then afterwards, we would no longer need an app. And you'd be able to buy and sell without an app, but just simply with the convenience of your own hand. In addition to that, one of the things that we had heard with WorldCoin was one of the ways to avoid the obstacle of potential opposition is to allow these microchips to provide people that have them with universal basic income. And we've heard people for quite some time saying they want this. What if it gave you $2,000 per month? Would that cause you to change your mind about getting an implant or having your biometric data scanned if it paid you $24,000 a year? Now, take a look at this video footage as to how they're saying this is the next step.
And what people don't mention is, what do these CBDCs actually look like? You know, at the moment, there's a bit of talk about this being phone-based apps. And yes, that is the initial phase.
But we saw that by 2030, the phone is going to be in your body.
But what was already ready around 2015 is the ultimate goal. What they really want, apparently, I was told by a central banker, is, you know, CBDCs looks like a small grain of rice that they want to put under your skin, which is, in my view, a violation of human dignity. And they realize there is a hurdle. So to get people to accept this, there will be, you know, why suddenly all the billionaires saying, let's have universal basic income? Because the story is going to be, oh, now we've created this vast unemployment and disruption and crises. Well, we need universal basic income. You will get 2,000 euros into your account every month. But of course, to run this efficiently, we need to use the latest technology. So, you know, you need the CBDC chip implant.
Wow, so this has been in the works since back in 2015. He said this was ready to roll out. And take a look. Here's an article from last year that said microchip implants that let you pay with your hand. And there was a lot of details in this article, but take a look at this. It says just in the past 12 months, regarding human micro implants, there's been a lot happening. Here's your roundup on recent developments from progress to bans. How close are human to microchip implants? And we're hearing very, very close. Now, let me know your thoughts. Do you think this is
XRP, the future global currency 2030? The same Ripple XRP CBD implant chip.
Hello and welcome to our Hackathon project video, where we showcase our innovative solution for the future of digital payments. Our project is called How Ripple CBDC Chip Implants Can Transform Your Life. Ripple is a company that provides solutions for central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, and stablecoins, which are digital versions of fiat currencies that are backed by reserves or assets. Ripple's CBDC platform offers a comprehensive platform for minting, managing, transacting, and each solution is built on a private ledger that is based on XRP ledger technology, a proven blockchain that has transacted over 70 million times over the course of 10 years, and is trusted by financial institutions around the world. Ripple is currently working with more than 20 countries on CBDC plans, including Palau and Montenegro, who have chosen to partner with Ripple to create their national digital currencies. One of the key benefits of CBDCs and stablecoins is that they can enable faster, cheaper, and more inclusive payments for millions of people who are unbanked or underbanked. According to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, CBDCs in developing countries have the potential to bank large unbanked populations and boost financial inclusion. But how can you access these digital currencies in a convenient and secure way? That's where Ripple's CBDC chip implants come in. A chip implant is a small device that is inserted under your skin and contains a unique identifier and a secure cryptographic key. With a chip implant, you can store, send, and receive CBDCs and stablecoins using your own body as a wallet. You can also use your chip implant to authenticate yourself, access services, and make transactions without the need for passwords, cards, or cash.
Financial services is about safe and efficient payments, facilitating money going from saving into lending and investment, but also to facilitate, manage, and channel risks.
The world of financial infrastructures has changed tremendously. The embracement of cloud technology, the embracement of artificial intelligence to do even more with the data that we have is already taking place at rapid speed.
The global financial system is undergoing a profound transformation, driven by regulatory change, monetary policy, technological change, and shifts in customer habits and needs. This opens up a set of opportunities.
Immunization Agenda 2030. Now remember, Bill Gates, well, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but money and vaccinations and all this is going to be tied in. IMF, International Monetary Fund 2030. The IMF 2030 generally refers to the International Monetary Fund's effort and agenda related to the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. International Monetary Fund 2030, a transformative action agenda. RFID implants 2030. In 2030, RFID implants are likely to be more commonplace, potentially moving beyond niche application to broader use in areas like payment, healthcare, and identification. Now remember, the man that worked for the government who designed the RFID chip says it is the mark of the beast, and God's word says, do not take it.
Last night I talked about my involvement in the...
And it doesn't matter if they're going to give you universal basic income on it. They're talking about universal basic income, implants. This man said he worked on it. He designed it. He was not a Christian, and it is the antichrist. It is the beast system.
The development of a little microchip implant. And many people have already taken that microchip implant. The news media has talked about it being a good thing. And they will tell you that it's a good thing to have this. Your children won't ever get lost again. They won't be able to give you the wrong medication. They won't be able to, you won't be able to lose this thing. And so the plan is underway that you will receive it. I would be remiss if I came to you and didn't tell you that God's word says, don't you take it. No matter how nice they make it sound. Tonight in the Science of Technology, I'm going to be showing you some things. I want you to understand that there is a conditioning that is done in people.
2030. These RFID chips are likely to be more commonplace. Financial leaders predict employee microchipping by 2030. Will 6G support digital implantable wallets? Based on the current understanding and research surrounding 6G technology, it is not the case that 6G will support digital implantable wallets in the sense that the wallet itself relies on the 6G network for its core functionality. Instead, 6G's advances could potentially enhance or create new possibilities for such devices. Can 6G work with intra-body networks? Yes, 6G is being envisioned to work with body area networks, extending their capabilities and creating new opportunities. Will 6G be used to support global surveillance? While it is impossible to say definitely that 6G will be used for global surveillance, the potential for such use exists due to its advanced capabilities and the nature of technology. Will 6G connect human and machines? Yes, 6G is envisioned to connect humans and machines, creating a more integrated digital world. The integration will be achieved through advancements in connectivity, AI integration, and the merging of physical, digital, and biological systems. The interaction of human and machines will be part of the 6G revolution. Brain-computer communication, and 6G smartphones to be embedded in the human body by 2030. By 2030. This is how a 6G smartphone might look in the future. So imagine the technology that's in the human body.
6G is coming in 2030. That's the public launch. But testing began years ago in controlled zones across Virginia, Osaka, and EU smart grids. And here's what they won't tell you. 6G doesn't connect your phone. It connects you. In 2023, DARPA and ATIS ran a closed pilot across federal buildings in Northern Virginia. The tech? 6G presence nodes, powered by terahertz bands that don't just transfer data, they mirror you. Each user's gait, tone, even heart rhythm became part of the signal loop. The system adjusted light, sound, even push notifications based on real-time biometric drift. It's called adaptive ambient sync, and it's not theory. In the Arlington test zone, over 200 participants unknowingly entered what the internal logs labeled a behavioral sync cluster. Result? 68% changed walking pace within 90 seconds. 52% began mirroring posture. Average voice pitch dropped 12 hertz across the zone without prompt or audio cue. This isn't cellular, it's presence modulation, backed by Samsung's 6G white paper, verified in Hexa-X testbeds, and buried in Appendix 9 of the Defense Communications Futures Report, blackbarred until last quarter. You were never the user. You were the interface. Want out? Disrupt the loop, delay touch input, break rhythm, avoid high-band hotspots during emotional peaks. Because with 6G, you're not browsing. You're being tuned. Tuesday accessed the relay logs. They weren't encrypted because they assumed no one would read drift code but them. Now you have. You were never the user. You were the interface.
Trump wants 6G internet as soon as possible. And who else wants 6G? The World Economic Forum. It's Trump's America first, but he wants the same global agenda as the transhumanist. The World Economic Forum is actively involved in shaping the future of 6G technology, recognizing its potential to address global challenges and drive innovation. BlackRock's involvement is primarily focused on building the underlying infrastructure that supports 6G. 6G will support the new financial system. Yes, 6G is expected to have significant impact on the financial system and broader economy, potentially supporting a new paradigm of financial innovation and transaction. Will 6G support implantable nanotechnology in humans? Yes, 6G technology is envisioned to play a significant role in enabling and supporting implantable nanotechnology in humans. Internet of Bio Nano Things, 6G is projected to facilitate the Internet of Bio-Nano Things, which involves integrating implantable and wearable devices with the Internet to monitor health and lifestyle, potentially turning the human body into part of an interconnected network. And Trump wants 6G rolling out as soon as possible. Will smart cities be in 2030? Yes, smart cities will very likely be a reality in 2030. The concept of smart cities, which involves using technology to improve urban living, is already being implemented and is expected to grow significantly by 2030. Could populations be relocated in 2030? Yes, population relocations are a reality and will likely continue to occur in 2030 and beyond. So does that mean more bad weather events, man-made events, fires burning people out, floods burning people out, earthquakes moving people? Yes, population relocations are a reality and will likely continue to occur in 2030 and beyond, driven by various factors, particularly climate change and conflict. Will food sources change in 2030? Yes, food sources are likely to change by 2030 due to several factors, including climate change, dietary trends, and technological advancements in architecture. These changes will likely occur, lead to shifts in crop yields, increased focus on sustainable agriculture, and the adoption of new food technologies. Y'all, I'm tired. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. The state of food system worldwide in countdown. Will education change by 2030? Yes, education is very likely to change significantly by 2030. And y'all remember Trump unleashed AI into education by executive order? Universal basic income coming? The UN's Sustainable Development Goals? A digital identity will be needed by 2030. Will global surveillance increase with these digital IDs? Will global surveillance increase by 2030? 4.5 years. Yes, it is highly likely that global surveillance will increase by 2030. From the World Economic Forum, trust in 2030 from institutions to individuals. We keep hearing that there's a crisis of trust. It's partially true. Credible research companies such as Pew say that trust in institutions such as banks, governments, charities, and the media has hit an all-time low. That doesn't mean this is an age of distrust. By 2030, we'll see, for example, credit scoring expanding into life scoring. Identity and reputation will be digitized and analyzed in minute detail, shaping a future where a personal trust score will be the norm, with all the benefits and drawbacks that might bring. Digital ID is part of the social contract between the government, citizens, and World Bank. And I told y'all many, many times, I will not break a covenant that a holy God has made with us as his people to sign a contract with the world that is perishing and the people that are over it that will be thrown into hell. But they're saying if you want to be a part of this new world that's coming, it's going to be a social contract. What, signed in blood? A future with no individual ownership is not a happy one. Property theory shows why. The World Economic Forum predicted that by 2030, individuals would own nothing and be happy within the next 4.5 years. World Economic Forum. Welcome to 2030. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. Can you say manipulated and brainwashed? Will there be a pandemic in 2030? The possibility of another pandemic occurring in 2030 is realistic. So, because of that, the UN, Bill Gates, and the Rockefeller Foundation launched the 15-5 agenda to make digital IDs that can be implanted, vaccine passports that can be implanted, that CBDC's digital currency that can be implanted, mandatory to participate in society by 2030, within the next 4.5 years. To understand their plan, the reset adverts say it all. You will own nothing, but you will be happy. Basically, you will hand over everything you own and your liberties, and they will let you live within the parameters that they define. From 2 years ago, 24 central banks will have digital currencies by 2030. I'm running out of time and I'm getting tired, but Klaus Schwab says you're not going to own cars, you're going to call Ubers, and you're going to do ride shares by 2030. By 2030, people will be renting their clothes. In 2030, online clothing rental is projected to be a significant part of the fashion industry, with the market size estimated to reach $2.33 billion. This airline will rent clothes to passengers on overseas flights. Japan Airlines is offering a clothing rental service called Anywhere, Anywhere for international travelers, allowing them to rent outfits for their trip and potentially avoid packing bulky items. This service aims to promote sustainable tourism and offer a more convenient travel experience. So you just show up at the airport with no carry-on luggage or nothing. Get on and say, oh, airline, can I rent 3 sets of clothes, and on my return flight, I will return them, please? Leo Holman shares new insights on Klaus Schwab's You'll Own Nothing and Be Happy, how AI and the Internet of Things will control everything you do. Will cryonics be used in 2030? Yes, cryonics is likely to be used in 2030, but in a very limited sense and not for purpose of reviving whole people. Cryonics technology market to witness huge growth by 2030. Cryonics technology preserves human bodies or brains at low temperatures in the hope of future revival.
What is cryonics? Cryonics is the field which deals with vitrifying of recently deceased humans with the hope of reviving them in the future when medical technology catches up. The body is cooled down to extremely low temperature, and somewhere along the cool down process, around -140 degrees Celsius, the body goes through a glass transition temperature and gets vitrified. Beyond this, the body is further cooled down to liquid nitrogen temperatures, so around -196 degrees Celsius, and then moved to special design chamber called cryogenic doors. Follow to learn more and to get answers to
Cryonics is likely to witness a huge growth by 2030. 2030 official trailer.
All right, our first stop here is the triage area. Much improved since FM came to us. This is the first stop for the recently deceased on their cryogenic journey.
So long as we live in these fragile biological bodies, survival emotions will dominate everything.
This is where we keep all our patients while they are awaiting reanimation.
Purgatory.
They've created a technological religion because the minute you offer immortality, you're a religion.
I'm part of a secret, unregulated experiment that could change humanity forever.
What is the biggest problem facing humanity? Well, humanity, I suppose.
What Cleo's doing, a lot of people are going to have a big problem with.
This is making me very uncomfortable, to be honest with you.
You're playing God.
I never expected to make it to human trial in my lifetime.
No.
I think that we need to ask questions about what is meaningful about humanity.
People like me, well, I don't plan to die.
How do you bring somebody back? How is FM going to be brought back?
When I was 10 years old, I met the most extraordinary person, and he's haunted my existence ever since.
Is cryonics part of transhumanism? Yes, cryonics is considered part of the transhumanist movement. Prominent among transhumanist technologies are artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, genetic engineering, cryonics, and prosthetics, and implants. Can 6G be used in cryonics, in cryogenics? While 6G is not directly used for cryonics preserved itself, it's an enabling technology that could significantly improve operational aspects and support the future of cryonics. Will AI use 6G? Yes, AI is expected to be deeply integrated into 6G networks. Human augmentation through 6G network. June 1st, 2025. Elon Musk builds it. Trump unleashes it. Wall Street legend says Dojo is the first real-time test of the America First AI doctrine. Trump signs executive order on developing artificial intelligence free from ideological biases. And then in his big, beautiful bill, there were 2 pages on unrestrained AI being unleashed on humanity. Marjorie Taylor Greene voted for the bill, and now she's sorry because she did not read those 2 pages on artificial intelligence.
About a clause that is in the One Big Beautiful Bill. This clause would take away state rights to make laws or regulate AI for 10 years. I think federalism is something that we must always protect, and I warn against the dangers of protecting a tech industry where we have no idea the future of what this industry will hold. AI is rapidly developing. AI has developed quickly over the past few years. Imagine what it will be 1 year from now, 5 years from now, and 10 years from now. Here's a lesson for us all. No matter what political party holds office and is in charge, we should all watch carefully the bills that we pass, and we should be mindful about protecting not only state rights, but the rights of the American people. About a clause.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, even though the Congresswoman voted for the bill in the House, she now says, in full transparency, that she wasn't aware of a section that would strip states of their ability to regulate artificial intelligence for the next decade. Here's what she posted on social media, quote, "We have no idea what AI will be capable of in the next 10 years, and giving it free rein and tying in states' hands is potentially dangerous." Now, the Congresswoman says if the Senate doesn't strip out that portion of it, she'll vote against it if and when it heads back to the House. With us once again here on the Hill, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican from Georgia. Thanks for being back with us, Congresswoman. You say in full transparency you didn't know that this was in there, and now you're shining a light on it. How did you not know that it was in there, and how'd you find out about it?
Well, we don't get the full bill text until very close to the time to vote for it. And so that was one section, that was 2 pages that I didn't see. And I'm being very transparent and honest about it with everyone, but I find it so problematic that I'm willing to come forward and admit that those are 2 pages that I didn't read, because I never want to see a situation where state rights are stripped away. And that's exactly what it says in that bill text, that it would take away states' rights to regulate or make laws against AI for 10 years. And I think that's pretty terrifying. We don't know what AI is going to be capable of within 1 year. We don't know what it will be capable of in 5 years, let alone 10 years. And I think we have to protect states' rights to be able to regulate and make laws that they need to make for their states.
Researchers say 6G will stream human brain caliber AI to the wireless devices. Transhumanism.
Thanks for having me.
And Trump is unleashed AI in executive order. His AI is in the big, beautiful bill he wanted passed that would have no restraint or restrictions, and states could not even rein it in. And this is transhumanism.
I'm going to talk to you about how 6G will provide the essential infrastructure to augment the human capabilities. Human capabilities as in enhancing our ability to handle proximity, our ability to handle and create knowledge, and enhancing our productivity overall. So let me start with this view here. This is inspired by the book of Harari on Homo sapiens, who makes the point that our human capabilities have been shaped through human evolution, basically to become a hunter-gatherer. But over a couple of thousand of years, our human environment has changed significantly. We are now living in an urban environment, and the number of people that we deal with has enormously increased. The density has increased from 1 person per square kilometers to 100 per square kilometer, and in urban environment, even thousands of people. We were shaped as a hunter-gatherer to work and live with 150 humans. So still today, this is the amount of people that we can have resonant, effective relations with. So, and our thesis is that it will be a massive deployment of sensors, massive deployment of AI, and that will allow us to connect physical worlds and human biological worlds with digital twin models in the digital world.
6G and transhumans. The term 6G and transhumans are increasingly being discussed together, particularly in the context of the potential implications of next generation mobile communication technology. Will 6G be used with Neuralink? The current version of Neuralink's brain-computer interface technology uses Bluetooth to communicate wirelessly with a computer or smartphone. However, there are discussions and expectations that 6G technology currently in development could potentially be used to power future brain-computer interfaces like Neuralink. 6G is being increasingly being talked about with transhumanism. So when does 6G roll out? 6G is expected to begin rolling out commercially around 2030. Around 2030. And Trump is completely surrounded with transhumanists. Peter Thiel, Scott Bessent, David Sachs, Elon Musk, Larry Ellison, Sam Altman, they're all transhumanists. Trust in artificial intelligence makes Trump and Vance a transhumanist ticket. And all those people I just mentioned, Sam Altman, Larry Ellison, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, they all financed Trump's election. And now he's promoting their agenda. Trump is unleashing AI on Americans. Now, y'all remember this? Trump taps Planeteer to compile data on Americans. We talked about this in another video. Peter Thiel, the founder of PayPal, who's a transhumanist, who financed J.D. Vance's Senate campaign that made him become the vice president. Peter Thiel, through his investment firm Founders Fund, is involved in America's Frontier Fund, which is partially bankrolled by him and supported by the White House. AFF is investing in various deep technologies, including 6G cell tower technology. Peter Thiel, y'all, that Trump just unleashed Palantir. Peter Thiel is over Palantir. He funds and he's behind 6G. And Trump has tapped him to compile databases on every single human. Then this article is from June 4th, 2025. Trump flipped on us. MAGA reacts to potential national database. And this is from yesterday. The Bilderberg meeting is going on right now, and guess who's there? Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is meeting with the secretive Bilderberg group, and Trump just commissioned Palantir to build a database on every single American. So now he's being confronted on spying on Americans while he's at this globalist meeting, and he is a transhumanist, and he's behind 6G.
Mr. Thiel, do you have any comments about Palantir's surveillance of the American people, sir? Or any of your connections to Jeffrey Epstein? I think people are rather concerned about that last particular one. You're setting up a Big Brother surveillance system, and people know it, sir. You think the American people want this surveillance tech being used against them? Any comments at all on the Epstein connections? You were meeting with them. People are waking up to what you're doing there, sir. That's why we're here covering this.
Karp at the World Economic Forum in 2023 talking about the primary goal of Palantir.
Go for it.
Then we were asked if we were willing to supply our product philanthropically, basically for free, and I was very in favor of this because our primary mission is, in fact, to set a global standard for the world for behavior.
To set a global standard for behavior, that means they want to control everything. And why is it that the guys that want to control everything, the majority of them look like that guy?
This is Alex Karp at the World Economic Forum.
And he's the CEO of Palantir. And they're straight out telling you they want to control human behavior.
2023 talking about the primary goal of Palantir.
Go for it.
Then we were asked if we were willing to supply our product philanthropically, basically for free, and I was very in favor of this because our primary mission is, in fact, to set a global standard for the world for behavior.
To set a global standard for behavior, that means they want to control everything. And why is it that the guys that want to control everything, the majority of them look like that guy?
This is Alex Karp at the World.
And Trump just unleashed Palantir on Americans when their stated goal is to control people. And now Peter Thiel got confronted at Bilderberg about building a spy database, a spy network against the American people. And Trump unleashed him. And Trump unleashed AI. Elon predicts 1 million humans will be augmented by Neuralink by 2030. We are being warned that nanobots will be flowing through our bodies by 2030, and will be used to connect our bodies to the internet. Could AI cause an image to speak? Yes, AI can indeed make an image appear to speak, or more accurately, create a talking photo. Isn't this getting biblical? Revelation 13:15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many that would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. I'm going to show this without the sound because they say a lot of cuss words. But this guy is asking his friends, have you ever gone and did a search on 20, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 and see what photos comes up when you put in each one of these years? It's a lot of cuss words. So in 2025, that's the pictures that come up. Lockdown. 26. They said nothing really, just the Viva Cup. 27, apocalypse, end of the world type stuff. Jesus fighting the devil, spiritual warfare. 2029, aliens, asteroids. In 2030, World Economic Forum, the Great Reset. And there's a lot of cussing in this. It's a countdown clock to 2030 in Melbourne. And here's another one. Residents divided as Aussie Council erects the $18,000 piece features a countdown clock tracking the days, hours, and minutes until 2030. This was from 2023. It says, I stumbled upon this ominous countdown in an alley off Little Bourke Street in Melbourne, a piece by Yandel called End Passage. Oh, so the globalist, the transhumanists who think they're going to live forever and ever and ever, they think that's their end passage, that they're going to pass through 2030 and go on into utopia. They're walking to their literal hell. They are promising the world heaven and they are leading them to hell. And the Christians know that we're about to go through something and come out on the other side in Jesus' name. So it says right here, yes, countdown clocks, plural, to 2030 are being erected in various locations around the world. The 2030 apocalypse, time is running out. The 2030 apocalypse tells the story of the rise of the antichrist and how humanity can unite to become God's remnant during the end times. The year 2030 is associated with various prophetic interpretations, particularly within Christian eschatology, which often centers on around the second coming of Christ and related events. Some interpretations suggest a specific time frame for these events, often linking them to biblical timelines and prophecies, including the rapture, the tribulation, and the millennial kingdom. However, it's important to note that these are interpretations and not universally accepted within Christianity, and varying views on the timing and nature of prophetic events. Some interpretations that 2030 could be the year of Christ's return, possibly coinciding with the end of the 7,000-year prophetic timeline. Tribulation period. The concept of a 7-year tribulation period, often linked to the book of Revelation, is also associated with 2030 in some interpretations, with the idea that it would precede or coincide with the second coming. End time scenarios. Discussions around 2030 often involve exploring various end time scenarios as depicted in the Bible, including the rise of the Antichrist figures, global conflicts, and other cataclysmic events. It is worth noting that 2030 is the target year for the United Nations Sustainable Developmental Goals. In various Christian interpretations, the term Antichrist refers to a figure who is prophesied to appear near the end of the world, acting in opposition to Jesus Christ and the Christian Church. Regarding the year 2030 and the Antichrist, some fictional works and online discussions explore the idea of the Antichrist's rise in the year 2030, often in the context of the apocalyptic narrative or New World Order conspiracy theories. Titles such as South Africa and the Antichrist 2030 and 2030 the Apocalypse explore the idea of a dictator or a figure identified as the Antichrist rising to power around that time. Do we have a dictator on the scene right now? Somebody that's calling themselves the chosen one? The King of the Jews? The Prince of Peace? 2030 is going to be interesting.
Okay, so I'm going to describe someone, and let's see if you can guess who this person is. Who received a menorah from the Israel Heritage Foundation with the inscription, Prince of Peace? Who has a father with the middle name Christ and their mother's first name is Mary? Who held a replica of the Ark of the Covenant in their house for 6 months? And who's working to rebuild the third temple in Jerusalem? Who said in an interview they don't need forgiveness? Who's mixing Christianity with Catholicism and Judaism? Who's a fierce man with a strong countenance? Who's constantly boasting in themselves instead of boasting in Jesus? And who is it that's bringing world leaders together and even got many of them to sign the Abraham Accords? Who is it that's saying America is first and not humanity? And why is this person pushing so hard for the world to welcome AI, robots, and quantum computing? And why is this person saying that they're leading the world into the golden age? And coincidentally, this also refers to a time during the pre-flood of the fallen Nephilim. Oh, and which president was it that on his first week of office, he cut back on abortion access in facilities, and then on May 7th, he withdrew a major lawsuit defending abortion pill access, basically saying, no, never mind, and that gave a huge win to pro-choice activists? And who was it that reposted on his social media an AI-generated video of him as a golden statue for everyone to worship? And who's leading the world into digital currency? And who is it that's calling the world into peace and safety, meanwhile still building weapons and defense systems? Like, what are you preparing for if you're wanting the world to be at peace? Ooh, and whose bloodline is part of the former Holy Roman Empire? And which world leader has no interest in women, not even his own wife? Like, there's no affection there whatsoever. Maybe it's because of his age, or maybe his desire for women has been overridden by his desire for power. And who has an AI image posted on their son's social media picturing a reflection of himself in the mirror as being a goat? Who accepted a gift of a statue of a goat wrapped in fake money in Trump We Trust? Now look, none of us knows for certain who's the AC. What we do know that is for certain, the only 100% truth, is that Jesus is Lord. Everything else outside of that is high speculation based on evidence. And the child of God isn't looking for the Antichrist. We're looking for Jesus Christ. And he gave us his word and a list of the signs of the times. Jesus said, watch and pray. So the question I have for you is, are you watching and praying, or are you following men and nationalism instead of following the righteousness found in Christ alone? Because nothing, my friend, is what it seems.
Two different worldviews are colliding. The ungodly and the heathen and the doubters and the scoffers are all looking to 2030 as the beginning of their utopia. Christians whose eyes are on Jesus are seeing that the end of all things are near. Y'all stay close to Jesus because two kingdoms are colliding, and Satan knows that his time is short. So he is going about as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. And he is set out to destroy the people of God. We have to be prayed up, aware, awake, watching, all in our lamps, ears to hear what the Spirit is saying unto the churches, eyes to see and discern. And the Bible says, my sheep hear my voice, and the voice of a stranger they will not obey. And I don't care who is talking. If they're trying to be a ventriloquist, we know the real voice of God. And that's the voice that we need to be sharpening our ears on. I love y'all. Stay close to Jesus. It is about to get biblical. If you appreciate the content and the truth that I bring on this channel, would you prayerfully consider a small donation to the ministry? I love y'all. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.